Hello, welcome to Unlocking Motivation in the Classroom. I am Susanna Dickinson, and I have been teaching in the elementary school setting for over 20 years. In this presentation, I will touch on some of the motivational theories that can be used as a basis for motivating our students in the classroom. This is just an overview of a few of the theories, and there are many out there, but I have been able to apply some of these theories in my classroom, and I want to be able to give you some tips and ideas that you can take away and start using them right away in your classroom. So let's get started. These are some of the topics I'll be addressing today. First, I'll attempt to explain my definition of motivation. I will touch on the expectancy theory, the social cognitive theory, the self-determination theory, and the goal orientation theory. And for each of those theories, I will try to give you some specific classroom examples and offer ways those theories can be applied in your classroom. Maybe you will find that you are already doing many of these things in your classroom already, and with just small additions or changes, you'll see a marked improvement in your students' motivation. So what is motivation? I define it as an internal process or drive someone has to act or behave the way they do. In other words, people have a reason behind the way they act and the choices that they make. Motivation is personal, and it is unique to each individual. I am sure you've heard of intrinsic or extrinsic motivation, but I want to define it a little more closely for you. Intrinsic motivation is that internal drive, wanting to do something for learning or for its own sake. It's related to personal growth or the enjoyment gained from a task or an action without an external reward. Extrinsic motivation can be prompted by an external reward that is more tangible, such as receiving an award or avoiding a punishment. Because a student wants a good grade, she might study harder. The child that missed the baseball practice because he chose to play video games instead of doing his homework might be more motivated to complete the homework the next time. It's important for educators to be knowledgeable about what is motivating students and how both intrinsic and extrinsic motivations can be highly effective. Using extrinsic motivators in the classroom is not new and can be very beneficial. We need to keep in mind, however, that extrinsic motivators are limited over time and can lead to lower motivation. The expectancy value theory is a theory that helps explain and predict how people's choices and behaviors are influenced by their expectations of success. It also focuses on the value people place on achieving those certain outcomes. Expectancy is the belief of how we will do in the future. It answers the question, am I able to do this? What someone thinks might happen in the future is based on what has already happened before. It's also related to the value they place on achieving certain outcomes. If it has high value, then the choices and behaviors are more likely to lead to success, influencing the future of the success. Whereas if it has low value to the individual, the likelihood of success is lower, leading the individual to be less motivated to try in the future. A young student of mine is consistently enthusiastic about math activities. She raises her hand to answer questions. She believes she can solve problems correctly. She participates in challenging activities. In the past, she has been successful and has received praise from teachers and from her parents. She displays a high level of expectancy because she believes in her abilities and she enjoys math. Conversely, a student I had in my classroom often got upset when he was given new reading material. He showed little enthusiasm and tended to give up quickly if he encountered words he didn't know. He would sweep the material to the floor and say things like, "I can't do it. I hate reading." The lack of confidence in his reading skills indicates a low level of expectancy regarding his ability to succeed. The value part of the expectancy value theory can be broken down into 4 distinct parts: the intrinsic interest value, the attainment value, the utility value, and the cost. The intrinsic interest value is all about the satisfaction or the enjoyment a person gets from a task. The question might be asked, am I interested in this? Finding out and using tools and methods that are interesting to students increases the level of enjoyment and potentially leading them to be more motivated to do the task. The attainment value is the level of importance to do well or perform a task or show others we're smart or competent. It really is part of our core identity. The utility value refers to how useful something might be. A student may not be interested in learning something, but they know that they will need to use it in the future. It is important for teachers to help students understand why something is important, how it can be used, and how it can be relevant to them now and in the future. The cost part of value is associated, like the utility value, with the why. Why do I need to do this task? But cost is more about, is it worth it? Is it worth my time and my energy? Every day we choose between activities or tasks. We prioritize what comes first or last. Students are confronted with these same choices, and as educators, we need to show them that what we're asking them to do is worth their time and their energy, and especially their effort. Expectancy value theory in the classroom. Focus on activating students' interest. Really tap into that intrinsic value. Find ways to make learning fun and enjoyable. Maybe it's through a group project or a hands-on experiment. Also, connect learning to real life. Create lessons that show students how the content relates to their lives. Stress students' success with effort. Highlight that attainment value. Emphasize the importance of success is related to their effort. Teach the why behind learning the content. So address costs. If a task feels too burdensome, students might give up. So make sure that they understand, what are they getting out of doing this? What are they learning? And how can they use it for the future? Do not underestimate the power of your expectations. A teacher's expectations, either positive or negative, can have self-fulfilling effects. The interaction of a teacher can cause a student to behave in such a manner as to confirm an expectation, even if it's a false assumption. So be very careful of your assumptions. The essence of social cognitive theory is that people can actively influence and be influenced by their surroundings. A person's behavior is also impacted by their beliefs, decision-making, and motivation. Instead of just absorbing information from their environment, the theory proposes that people actively engage in their learning by evaluating the results of their actions. That, in turn, affects their environment and personal factors, as well as modifies their future behavior. It stands to reason that students will be influenced by their home, school, and peers, and that social media will also have a powerful influence on them. There's a strong connection between behavior and the behavior students observe and see modeled. Social cognitive theory in the classroom. Create a positive classroom environment, promoting their abilities to succeed. Scaffold learning to provide a basis of success and gradually increase the level of difficulty. This also includes creating diverse groups of learners instead of just ability grouping. Discuss the rewards of positive behaviors and describe consequences of all types of behaviors in the classroom. Use modeling in interests, attitudes, encouragement, and make sure to show a variety of peer and adult modeling. Help promote students' belief in their ability to succeed, self-efficacy, by giving confidence-building messages, having them experience personal success and success of others. And set realistic expectations that are attainable and appropriate, but still challenging. The basis of the self-determination theory is getting children to be self-determined and curious about the learning. Some combined definitions of determination are having emotional strength or showing perseverance, working toward a goal or making decisions, and showing a level of control over actions. There are 3 needs that should be met before self-determination can be achieved. Competence. We want to feel like we are good at something and have the skills needed to be successful. Autonomy. It's the feeling we have choices and control over our actions. And relatedness. A feeling of being connected to others through positive relationships. Self-determination is the ability of a person to make choices and determine their own actions. The theory suggests that when all 3 needs are met, competence, relatedness, and autonomy, then that person has the potential to become self-determined. And that leads to being intrinsically motivated people, happily working toward their own personal goals. As educators, we can provide ways to help students on the path to self-determination. Self-determination theory in the classroom. Create an environment of autonomy that encourages risk-taking and problem-solving. Students have feelings of autonomy when they're supported to explore and take risks to find solutions for problems. Try to implement goal setting and feedback. When teachers really listen and respond to students, they feel a sense of relatedness. And when appropriate, provide choices in the classroom activities. Focus rewards based on student effort rather than on comparison to their peers. Avoid excessive external rewards for tasks if they already enjoy, since that can alter their motivation. Goal orientation theory is focused on the reasons why people approach, engage, and respond to learning activities. People are either performance or mastery goal oriented. Performance oriented people would like to show others that they are competent and have skills and abilities. Mastery oriented people would like to develop their own competence for themselves. Performance approach orientation. Students that are oriented to performance approach goals want to prove to others that they are smart and good at the task. The focus is on what others think. They want to make an impression. Some students might be performance avoidance goal oriented. They're motivated to do well because they are worried about what others might think, or they might avoid the task altogether. Mastery approach orientation is focused on developing skills and abilities for the person's own sake. They compare themselves to their past accomplishments. Students that are oriented to a mastery approach goal are related to learning for themselves or for their own personal growth. Students that are oriented to mastery avoidance goals are motivated so they avoid not learning or so they do not miss out on learning correct information. Goal orientation theory in the classroom. Teachers should help students create realistic but challenging goals. They can praise effort for the use of strategies versus praising a student's ability. Provide specific feedback based on strategies and effort, and give suggestions for improvement. Again, praise effort exerted during the task. Model how mistakes are part of learning. Normalize the mistakes and model self-talking while working through problems and using strategies. We want students to be mastery approach oriented. We want to reduce approaches that lead to performance avoidance goals. And students seem more interested and happier when they are master approach oriented. In review, I gave my definition of motivation as an internal process or drive someone has to act or behave the way they do. Our goal as educators is to develop student skills and use of strategies so they can handle challenges and issues that arise. By adding some of these strategies to your teacher toolbox, your students can be more engaged and motivated to learn.